Welcome to English Stories Journey. Listen, relax, and grow your English with every story.
Joanne Rowling was a quiet child who loved stories more than anything. She grew up in a small town in England, surrounded by green fields, old houses, and rainy skies. Her father worked with airplanes, and her mother loved to read. In their small home, there were always books, old, new, thick, or thin. From the moment Joanne could read, she was never without a book. She would sit on her bed for hours, lost in other worlds, places where dragons flew, heroes fought evil, and magic was real. Sometimes she even forgot to eat dinner because she couldn't stop reading. When she was 6, she wrote her first story about a rabbit who got sick and was visited by his animal friends. She showed it proudly to her mother, who smiled and said, "That's wonderful, Jo." At school, Joanne was shy, but her imagination was bold. She made up stories in her head when she walked home, imagining tassels behind the clouds and secret tunnels under the ground. In her notebooks, she filled pages with names, ideas, and strange creatures. She didn't know it yet, but her world of magic was already growing, slowly, quietly, waiting for the right time. Years passed, and Joanne went to university. She studied French, worked as a teacher, and lived in different countries. On the outside, she was an ordinary young woman trying to build a normal life. But inside, the dream of writing never left her. Then came a hard time. Her mother became ill, and Joanne felt lost. Life seemed heavy, colorless. The stories in her head were the only things that gave her hope. After her mother's death, Joanne moved to Portugal to teach English. She hoped a new place would help her heal. There, she met a man, got married, and had a daughter. But the marriage didn't last. Soon, Joanne found herself alone, a single mother with no money, trying to start again. She returned to England, heartbroken and tired. She was 28, living in a small flat in Edinburgh. Most days she felt invisible. Another young woman pushing a stroller through the cold streets, looking for a job, worrying about rent. And then, one day, everything changed. It happened on a train. A long, delayed, ordinary train from Manchester to London. Joanne sat by the window, watching the countryside move by. The rain made lines on the glass. People were reading newspapers or sleeping. She had nothing to do, no book, no pen, just her thoughts. And suddenly, like a spark in the dark, a picture appeared in her mind. She saw a thin boy with messy black hair and round glasses. He looked ordinary until she realized he was a wizard. He didn't know it yet, but he was special. He was on his way to a magical school, and that school was full of secrets, dangers, and wonders. Joanne sat still, her heart beating faster. The boy's world started growing inside her mind. A train, a castle, a wise headmaster, friends, enemies, and spells. She could almost hear their voices. She could see the story unfolding. When she arrived in London, she rushed home and began to write everything she could remember. But life was still difficult. There were bills, work, and a baby to feed. She wrote whenever her daughter slept, in cafes, on scraps of paper, even on napkins. Sometimes she felt like giving up, but that boy, the boy with glasses, wouldn't let her. He was part of her now. And so, page by page, year by year, Joanne kept writing. And that's how the world of Harry Potter was born. When the first chapters were ready, she looked for a publisher. The answers were not easy. Some letters said no. Some did not answer at all. Rejection letters arrived like cold rain. Each no made her sad. Joanne sometimes cried, wondering if she was foolish to keep trying. But then she remembered the boy with glasses, her Harry, and she knew she couldn't stop. He was real to her. He deserved a chance. So she sent the book once more, this time to a small publishing house called Bloomsbury in London. And this time, something different happened. One day, the phone rang. It was an editor. He said his 8-year-old daughter had read the first chapter of Joanne's story, and she loved it. She wanted to read more. She wanted to know what happened next. That was the moment everything changed. Bloomsbury agreed to publish her book. They offered her a small payment. Not much money, but enough to give her hope. In 1997, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was printed for the first time. Only 500 copies were made. Some went to libraries. But the magic had begun. Soon, something incredible happened. Children started talking about the boy wizard. Teachers recommended the book. Parents read it with their kids. Word spread like a secret spell. Bookshops ran out of copies. More were printed. Then came Book 2 and Book 3, each one bigger than the last. Joanne, now known as J.K. Rowling, became a name everyone recognized. She was invited to interviews, book fairs, and award ceremonies. Her books were translated into dozens of languages. Then came Hollywood. Movie studios wanted to bring Harry Potter to life on screen. When the first film came out, fans lined up outside cinemas in every country. Children dressed as wizards, holding wands and wearing round glasses. The magic had spread across the world. J.K. Rowling's life changed completely. The woman who once worried about rent was now one of the most famous and successful writers on earth. But through all the fame, she stayed true to herself. She still wrote in cafes. She still loved simple things: a cup of tea, a quiet walk, time with her family. And she kept writing more Harry Potter books, each one deeper, darker, and full of courage and friendship. For millions of readers, her story became part of childhood. The books taught lessons about love, bravery, loss, and hope. People who once didn't like reading suddenly fell in love with books. It was more than a story about wizards. It was a story about growing up, about believing in good, about choosing what is right. And for Joanne, every child who smiled while reading was proof that her dream had been worth it.
When the Harry Potter series ended, J.K. Rowling felt both proud and empty. For many years, Hogwarts had been her world, her second home. But now it was time to move on and try something new. She started writing for adults. Her first book after Harry Potter was The Casual Vacancy, a story about life in a small English town. It was very different. No magic, no wizards, but it showed that she could write about anything. Later, she decided to write crime stories under a secret name, Robert Galbraith. For a while, nobody knew it was her. The books followed a private detective named Cormoran Strike. When her secret was discovered, readers were surprised, but excited. The stories became bestsellers too. J.K. Rowling also began to give back. She donated millions to help children, families, and hospitals through her own charity, the Vollant Trust. She supported many causes, but stayed quiet about her good work. Although fame had changed her life, she remained a writer at heart, still creating, still dreaming, still believing in the power of stories. Fame brought Joanne great attention, and also a strong storm of public opinion. In 2020, she wrote and posted about sex and gender. Many people read her words and felt hurt. Others said she had the right to speak. The discussion grew quickly and loudly online and in the news. Some of the actors from the Harry Potter films spoke up. They said they supported transgender people and disagreed with Rowling's comments. These responses made the debate more visible to fans around the world. Institutions and fans also reacted in different ways. A few places changed how they displayed Rowling's work or limited her public honors, and some readers said they felt confused and sad. At the same time, Other people and companies defended her right to express her views and kept working with the Harry Potter stories. The conversation showed how complicated public life can be. A person's words reach millions, and reactions can be quick and strong.
Through all this, Rowling continued to write. She explained her reasons in essays and interviews and said she would keep working on stories and on causes she cared about. The storm did not stop her from speaking or from writing, even when criticism was hard to take. Joanne's life shows a simple, powerful truth. One small notebook and a lot of courage can change a life. She moved from being a poor single mother writing in cafes to becoming one of the most famous writers in the world. Her books helped millions of children learn to love reading. Beyond books, she gave much of her money and time to help others. Her Volent Trust supports children, women, and families in need. She helped create the charity Lumos to help children in poor institutions. Over the years, she has donated large sums to many causes and to medical research. Her giving is a big part of her legacy. Her work changed culture. Readers grew up with Harry. Schools used the books to teach, and fans made entire communities around the stories. Even when opinions about her grew mixed, the books continued to mean a lot to people. For many, the message of friendship, courage, and choice in her stories remains strong. In the end, Joanne's story is not only about success, it is about imagination, persistence, and the power of speaking in public. And what is your favorite book about Harry Potter? Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe for more English stories.